This is Hope Baugh from IndyTheaterHabit.com. This is my 30th little video made with my iPhone about the 2009 Indy Fringe Festival. And the first one was just me sitting here in my living room introducing myself, so maybe it's appropriate that the last one be me sitting in my living room thanking everyone who helped make the 2009 Indy Fringe Festival such a treat. So I want to thank as many people as I can think of, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but I'll do my best. And then I want to sing a little song. We'll see how it goes. I thank Pauline Moffett, director of the Indy Fringe Festival, and her assistant Justin Brady, and the Indy Fringe board. I thank the Fringe intern Christina Leary, and whatever other Fringe staff and interns I might have met, and I'm sorry I don't know all their names. I also thank all of the volunteers and volunteer coordinators, including Sue Grizel, who coordinated the Indy Fringe Next shows. Fringe Next were all the youth performers. And I interviewed Ivy, but there were other volunteer coordinators at all of the venues. And all of the volunteers who staffed the box offices, selling tickets, who put up flyers, who set up chairs, who answered questions about directions, and who took care of probably thousands of details that I can't even imagine. But this was my third year fringing, and I thought it was the best ever in terms of organization and crowd control. The numbers were record-breaking this year, which is pretty cool. And it was just a wonderful experience. I'd also like to thank Pat McCarney, I think his name was the technical director for the whole Fringe, and each of the tech people in the venues were great. Danny at the Phoenix Theater, and Michael at Comedy Sports, and at Theater on the Square main stage, my man Anthony, and at Tot Stage 2, Kevin, and Bernie down at the Earth House. And I'm sorry I don't know the names of the people that ran tech, which means lights and sound, at the outdoor stage or at the Fringe Next building, but I went to the last show I saw was Medea at the Fringe Next building on the very last time slot last night, and it was great. It was a treat. I'm not going to write about it because that was my non-blogging day, but I can tell you that those Butler students did a great job with that show, and I'm glad I saw it. And I enjoyed music at the outdoor stage, so I appreciate all of the tech people that made the lights and sounds for all the shows run so smoothly and effectively. And I'd like to thank the writers, all the people, professional and amateur or volunteer, whatever you want to call it, who wrote about the shows. I'm really glad that I can read Lou's views in the Indianapolis Business Journal and Jay's theater reviews in the Indianapolis Star, and David and Josepha's and all the Nouveau staff writers' reviews and guest reviewers in Nouveau. You know, I'm a blogger, I'm a citizen journalist, whatever you want to call me, but I really appreciate that there are still professional journalists writing about live theater in the Indianapolis area, and I hope they will continue to do so all year long. But it was also exciting to get to read a lot of new voices in the new media, or, you know, whatever people like me are called. There were bloggers at smallerindiana.com and indianaauditions.com, and I met a woman named Caitlin who writes for a relatively new website called funcityfinder/indianapolis.com. And sometimes I would Google a show and discover bloggers who don't normally write about theater, but they had been to a Fringe show, and so they wrote about it. In fact, one was local actress Erin Cohenauer. She apparently writes a blog about diet food, which just cracks me up. But she saw Les Kirkendall's The Attack of the Big Angry Booty and liked that Fringe show and wrote about it on her blog. There's someone named Jill at the WIBC website that wrote about Fringe shows. I just love that there are all these people writing about theater, and I hope they continue to do it year-round, because yes, I like going to shows and writing about them, but I also like reading about other people's experiences of live theater. And the more voices, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Most of all, I'd like to thank the performers. They each paid $400 to participate in the Fringe. And yes, all the money from ticket sales went directly back to them, but on top of the entrance fee, they had to pay for they had to find or pay for rehearsal space. They spent hours and hours and hours developing their pieces and polishing them and transporting set pieces and costumes and musical instruments and whatnot to the Fringe, to their venues. So I really appreciate the privilege of getting to see and hear their talents, their creativity, their authenticity, their bravery, their gifts. It was a wonderful mix of shows this year at the Fringe. I wish I could have seen all of them. I'm glad I got to see the ones that I did. More than one person has told me that the Indy Fringe makes them think of summer camp for theater people. The Indy Fringe is like summer camp for theater people because you're walking around and you're going to a lot of shows and a lot of bonding happens. And that makes me think of a song that we used to sing when I was a camp counselor a long time ago. It goes like this. If you've heard it before, sing along. I wanna linger a little longer, a little longer here with you. And come September, I will remember my fringing days and friendships true. And as the years go by, I'll think of you and sigh. This is good night and not goodbye. And it's not goodbye, because they have already set the calendar for next year. The 6th annual Indy Fringe Festival will be August 20th through 29th, 2010. So in the meantime, I will be going to a lot of live theater shows and writing about them on my blog, indytheaterhabit.com. And I hope you'll be seeing a lot of live shows too and writing about them wherever you write about them, or just, talking about them, or you don't even have to talk or write about them, just enjoy them. But then next year, I hope to see you at the Fringe again. Thanks for reading and watching.